So the Jefferson curl, I'm going to show you two different variations. Variation one is focusing more on the articulation and segmentation of the spine as well as some hamstrings. But if you're tight in the hamstrings and you can't touch your toes, do this version of Jefferson curls first. So you're going to have a slight bend in the knees. From here, I want you to tuck the pelvis in. So posterior pelvic tilt. Think about tucking your shirt in with your hips. Then dropping the head forwards, rounding the shoulders to initiate a forwards movement. You're going to try to roll each vertebrae down, keeping the chin tucked into the chest and the weight. In my case, I'm using a dumbbell. You can use a barbell or you can just use a weight plate. Have that tracing down the legs. Once the weight reaches the knees, I want you to extend and straighten the legs out, continuing to round each vertebrae down individually. Think about expanding each disc in the vertebrae out as you round the spine. Then going down as low as you can. Some of you might not be able to reach the feet. Some of you might go further than that. Whatever your range of motion is, once you've reached that, hold for whatever the specific time is. Then when you're rolling back up, bend through the knees. Keep the weight tracing the legs and the shins. Keep the chin tucked in, and you're trying to squeeze and engage through the glutes as soon as you can to initiate the rolling up motion, starting from the lower back. So when you're rolling down, keep the pelvis and the lower back tucked in and let that go down last. You start the motion from the upper back first, and then you bring yourself back up from the lower back first. So the next variation from there, if you can touch your toes, or you can bring the fist or the hands flat down on the floor quite easy, you're going to keep the legs straight the whole time. Keep the quads tensed here and think about pushing the knees, the backs of the knees out behind you as much as you can. Same rules apply. You tuck the chin in, you drop the shoulders forward, and you round through the spine, keeping the pelvis tucked in when you're lowering down and letting that fall down last. Then same thing, when you're rolling back up, squeeze the glutes as soon as you can and initiate the movement through rolling up through the lower back first. No matter the progression, at the bottom position, no matter what your range of motion is, you should feel it in the hamstrings. Things where people go wrong is they hinge the hips, they bring the butt back before rolling down. This is wrong. This isn't a deadlift, this is a Jefferson curl. Keep the pelvis tucked in. Another another area where people go wrong, or you might find yourself in a weird situation or a situation you don't quite understand, is chunks of the spine. You find it hard to segment the spine, and you feel like a big chunk of the spine kind of falls down at once. This is a sign that you're quite tight through that patch in the spine. It might be the whole back in general, but it might be just one segment as well. So really slow that down, and you might even have to bend the knees to get that bit of rounding motion through the spine happening. So if that's the case for you, bend the knees or take your time and really slow that part down.